Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! The satin gown, shimmering like a verdant jewel beneath the stars, danced in the evening breeze as Zuri strode purposefully across the deserted lot. Each step resonated with determination, her heels clicking in perfect rhythm. The soft fabric caressed her bare arms, providing little protection from the cool night air. Zuri breathed deeply, the plunging neckline of her dress accentuating the rise and fall of her chest. Emma, standing nearby, whispered encouragement, her voice steadying Zuri's momentary nerves. "You're stunning, and don't you forget it. Walk in there and let them witness the masterpiece you've become." Emma grasped Zuri's hand, offering a gentle squeeze. As Zuri focused on the illuminated entrance of the high school, she knew her transformation was complete. The transformation wasn't just physical, it was a complete metamorphosis of spirit. The brown hair that had been cropped short for years now cascaded in loose waves past her shoulders, expertly styled by Emma. The gold accessories, dangling earrings, a delicate necklace that drew attention to her collarbones, and bracelets that jingled softly with each movement, complemented the rich green of the gown perfectly. "What if they recognize me?" The whispered question betrayed the lingering doubt beneath the carefully applied makeup. Emma adjusted the corsage on Zuri's wrist. "They won't. Those idiots never actually looked at you. Besides, you're not even the same person right now." She stepped back to admire her handiwork once more. "You're stunning! And we're already fashionably late, so let's make an entrance." Inside, the gymnasium had been transformed with twinkling lights and silver streamers. A DJ booth occupied one corner, while tables laden with punch and snacks lined the opposite wall. Couples swayed on the dance floor, teachers patrolled the perimeter, and the popular crowd had claimed territory near the stage where the crowning would take place later. The double doors opened, and conversation faltered as heads turned. Emma entered first, pretty in a simple blue dress, but all eyes shifted immediately to the vision in emerald that followed. Zuri's heart hammered against her ribs as she felt the collective gaze of her classmates, the same people who had made Carson's life miserable for years. Only now, they didn't see Carson at all. "Who is that?" The question rippled through the crowd. "Must be somebody's date from another school." "Damn, is she a model or something?" The whispers followed her across the room, but they weren't the cruel jabs Carson had grown accustomed to. These were admiring, curious, even envious. Zuri's red stiletto heels carried her forward with a grace that Carson had practiced for months in the privacy of his bedroom. In the corner, Brock Davidson, quarterback, prom king frontrunner, and Carson's chief tormentor, stared open-mouthed. Beside him, his usual gang of followers seemed equally transfixed. "Your plan is already working," Emma murmured, nodding subtly toward them. "Brock looks like he's been hit by a truck." Zuri allowed herself a small smile. "Good, though I'm not here for him." "No," Emma agreed. "You're here for yourself. Now, let's get some punch before the real fun begins." They made their way to the refreshment table, where Zuri accepted a glass from a server who couldn't seem to maintain eye contact. The sweet liquid soothed her dry throat, and with each passing minute, the initial terror began to subside. People smiled at her. Boys who had never given Carson a second glance now tried to catch her eye. Girls studied her outfit with undisguised interest. "Having fun yet?" Emma asked, watching as another group of students openly stared. Before Zuri could answer, a figure approached. Tyler Mills, one of the few decent guys in their grade, though he ran with Brock's crowd more often than not. "I don't think we've met," he said, extending a hand. "I'm Tyler." Zuri hesitated only briefly before accepting the handshake. "Zuri," she replied, her voice soft but steady, a tone she'd perfected over months of practice. "You're not from Winston, are you? I would have remembered seeing you around." Emma stepped in smoothly. "Zuri's my cousin, visiting from California. I thought prom would be a fun experience for her." Tyler nodded, clearly buying the story. "Well, welcome to our little corner of the world. Would you like to dance? Unless you're waiting for someone specific." The question hung in the air. Zuri glanced at Emma, who gave an encouraging nod. "I'd like that," Zuri said, placing her empty glass on the table. Tyler led her to the dance floor just as a slower song began. His hands were respectful, resting lightly on her waist as they swayed to the music. From over his shoulder, Zuri could see Brock and his friends watching, clearly trying to figure out who had scored a dance with the mysterious newcomer. "Your friend Carson didn't come tonight?" Tyler asked, casually. The question nearly made Zuri miss a step. "What?" "Carson Miller, Emma's friend. Skinny guy, kind of keeps to himself. I figured since you're Emma's cousin, you might know him too." Zuri maintained her composure with effort. "Oh, I've heard Emma mention him, but no, I don't think he's here tonight." Tyler shrugged. "Too bad. He's had a rough time with some of the guys here. Brock and them can be real jerks sometimes." "You don't participate in that?" Zuri asked, studying his face. "Not my style. I've told Brock to back off more than once, but..." He trailed off, looking uncomfortable. "Anyway, that's not great prom conversation. You look amazing, by the way. That dress is incredible." The compliment warmed her cheeks. "Thank you. It took forever to find the right one." "Well, worth the search. Green is definitely your color." As they continued dancing, Zuri caught glimpses of other couples. Some she recognized as Carson's classmates, others were strangers brought as dates. Near the edge of the dance floor, Emma had been asked to dance by another senior. She gave Zuri a thumbs up behind her partner's back. When the song ended, Tyler thanked her for the dance and was immediately replaced by another boy, eager for a turn. And then another. By the fourth song, Zuri had danced with more people than Carson had spoken to all semester. During a break in the music, Principal Matheson took the stage. "Having fun, seniors?" he called out, receiving a chorus of cheers in response. "In 30 minutes, we'll be announcing this year's prom court, so make sure you've cast your votes at the ballot table." Emma appeared at Zuri's side, flushed from dancing. "You should see the looks on their faces," she said, nodding toward Brock's group. "They're all trying to figure out who gets to claim they know you first." "This is surreal," Zuri admitted. "I never imagined it would feel like this." "Like what?" "Like power. Like finally being seen." Emma squeezed her arm. "That's because you're not hiding anymore. Come on, let's cast our votes." At the ballot table, they were handed slips of paper listing the candidates for king and queen. Brock's name was printed at the top of the king's column, alongside 5 other popular seniors. The queen's column featured the usual suspects: cheerleaders, class officers, the girls who had orbited the social stratosphere for years. "Write-in votes are permitted," said the student manning the table. Emma's eyes lit up. "Write yourself in," she whispered urgently. "What? No, that's crazy." "Do it. Trust me." With a shaky hand, Zuri wrote Zuri at the bottom of the queen's column. Emma did the same. then folded her ballot with a secretive smile. "You're plotting something," Zuri accused as they walked away. "Maybe, but the night's still young, and you've already conquered the dance floor. Might as well aim for the crown, too." Before Zuri could protest, another slow song began playing, and Tyler reappeared. "May I have another dance?" he asked. This time, Zuri felt more comfortable in his arms. They talked easily about music, movies, plans after graduation. The conversation flowed naturally, and Zuri found herself genuinely enjoying his company. "Can I ask you something?" Tyler said as the song neared its end. "Sure." "Would you want to get coffee sometime? After prom, I mean, while you're still in town?" The question caught her off guard. Tyler was asking Zuri out, not Carson, whom he barely acknowledged in the hallways. The irony wasn't lost on her. "I'm not sure how long I'll be around," she hedged. "Even if it's just once, I'd like to get to know you better. There's something about you that's different, in a good way." Over his shoulder, Zuri noticed Brock watching them intently. An idea formed. Dangerous, perhaps foolish, but tempting nonetheless. "Actually," she said, "why don't we get some air right now? It's getting warm in here." Tyler agreed readily, and they slipped out a side door onto a small patio area that had been set up for the event. String lights illuminated the space, and a few other couples had found their way outside as well. They found a bench partially hidden by decorative plants, offering a semblance of privacy. The night air felt cool against Zuri's bare shoulders, and she was grateful when Tyler offered his jacket. "So, California," he began. "What's it like living there?" Zuri wove a careful tale, drawing on details from movies and books about the Golden State. Tyler listened attentively, asking questions that she answered with increasing confidence. The lies came easily, perhaps because part of her had always imagined a different life, one where she was accepted, admired, free to be herself. Their conversation was interrupted when the side door burst open and Brock emerged, followed by two of his friends. They hadn't noticed Tyler and Zuri yet, engrossed in their own discussion. "Dude, you should totally go for that girl in the green dress," one of them was saying. "She's hot as hell." "Way ahead of you," Brock replied. "I'm going to ask her to dance when they announce the king and queen. No way Tyler keeps her interest for long." Zuri tensed, and Tyler's expression darkened. Before either could respond, Emma appeared in the doorway. "Zuri, there you are. They're about to announce the court. You need to come inside right now." Grateful for the interruption, Zuri stood, handing Tyler back his jacket. "Thanks for the company," she said. "The pleasure was mine," he replied, following her toward the door. Brock and his friends stepped aside, though Brock's eyes followed Zuri with unconcealed interest. She kept her gaze forward, chin high, channeling every ounce of confidence she could muster as she brushed past him. Inside, the gymnasium had been dimmed further. A spotlight focused on the stage where Principal Matheson stood with two teachers and a small table bearing crowns and sashes. "Gather round, everyone!" the principal called. "It's time to announce this year's prom court." Students pressed forward eagerly. Emma led Zuri to a spot near the front, but slightly to the side, positioning them where they could see everything but remain somewhat inconspicuous. "First, let's announce our prince and princess, the junior class representatives in our court." Two underclassmen were called to the stage amid applause. Then came the announcement of 4 senior couples as dukes and duchesses, all predictable choices from the popular crowd. "And now," Principal Matheson continued, "the moment you've all been waiting for. This year's prom king is Brock Davidson." Cheers erupted as Brock made his way to the stage, high-fiving friends en route. He accepted the crown with a triumphant grin, waving to his supporters like a politician at a rally. "And joining him as this year's prom queen." The principal paused, peering at the card in his hand with obvious confusion. He leaned over to confer with one of the teachers, who shrugged and whispered something back. "Well, this is unusual," he finally said. "It appears we have a write-in winner. Our prom queen is Zuri?" A murmur rippled through the crowd. Heads swiveled, searching for the mysterious Zuri. Emma squeezed her friend's arm so tightly it almost hurt. "They did it," she whispered excitedly. "After I voted, I texted practically everyone I know to write you in. Looks like it worked." "You did what?" Zuri hissed, panic rising in her chest. "Zuri!" Principal Matheson called again. "Is there a Zuri here tonight?" Emma gave her a gentle push forward. "Go. This is your moment." The spotlight swung through the crowd, finally landing on the figure in the emerald gown. Zuri stood frozen as all eyes turned toward her. This hadn't been part of the plan. She was supposed to attend the prom, show everyone who Carson could be, and leave with her dignity intact. Being crowned queen alongside Brock Davidson, her tormentor, was a complication she hadn't prepared for. But as the spotlight held steady and expectant applause began to build, something shifted inside her. Carson had spent years shrinking, hiding, avoiding attention. Zuri didn't need to do the same. With a deep breath, she stepped forward. The crowd parted, creating a path to the stage. Each click of her red stilettos on the gymnasium floor echoed in the suddenly hushed room. Brock watched her approach, his expression a mixture of confusion and smug satisfaction, clearly believing he'd won more than just a crown tonight. Zuri climbed the steps carefully, accepting Principal Matheson's hand for balance. He placed the tiara on her brown waves and draped a satin sash across her torso. "Congratulations," he said, then turned back to the microphone. "Let's hear it for our prom king and queen!" The applause was enthusiastic, but laced with confusion. Who was this girl that had won their votes? Brock leaned closer to Zuri as they smiled for phones that had been raised to capture the moment. "Looks like we're royalty tonight," he said. "I don't think we've formally met. I'm Brock." "I know who you are," she replied, maintaining her smile for the cameras. He looked surprised, but pleased. "And I definitely want to know more about you. Maybe after our dance?" Principal Matheson gestured toward the dance floor. "And now, the traditional first dance for our king and queen." A slow song began as Brock led Zuri down from the stage. The crowd formed a circle around them, phones still recording every move. He placed his hands on her waist, the same hands that had shoved Carson into lockers, that had torn up his homework, that had made each day a gauntlet of humiliation. "You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen," Brock murmured as they swayed to the music. "Where have you been hiding all year?" Zuri met his gaze directly. "Right under your nose, actually." He laughed, mistaking her meaning. "Well, I'm definitely noticing now. You're with Emma's cousin, right? Tyler mentioned something about you visiting from California." "Is that what he said?" Zuri allowed a small smile. And here I thought you were too busy making other people's lives miserable to pay attention to guests. Brock's steps faltered slightly. What? You heard me. The music continued as other couples began joining them on the dance floor. You know, it's funny how life works out sometimes. The people you step on today might be the ones looking down at you tomorrow. Confusion clouded his features. Do we know each other? Have we met before? The song was ending. Zuri leaned closer, her lips near his ear. Think about it, Brock. Think really hard about all the people you've tormented over the years. Maybe you'll figure it out. She pulled back, offering a final, dazzling smile for anyone still watching, then released his hands and walked away, leaving him standing alone in the middle of the dance floor. Emma met her halfway across the room, eyes wide. What did you say to him? He looks like he just saw a ghost. Just planted a seed, Zuri replied. Come on, I need some air. They made their way outside to the same patio area, which was now empty. The night had grown cooler, but Zuri barely noticed. Adrenaline coursed through her veins, making her feel simultaneously powerful and terrified. I can't believe you're prom queen, Emma said, adjusting the tiara that had shifted slightly. This is beyond perfect. The whole school is buzzing about you. It wasn't supposed to happen like this, Zuri admitted. I just wanted to show up, be myself, prove that I could exist in their world without shame. I didn't expect all of this. Are you upset? No. Yes. I don't know. She touched the tiara gingerly. Part of me feels like I've won something important. Another part feels like I'm still playing their game, still seeking validation from people who never cared about the real me. Emma leaned against the railing beside her. Maybe, but you showed up on your terms, as your authentic self, and they responded to that authenticity, even without knowing the whole truth. That counts for something. Before Zuri could respond, the door opened. Tyler stood there, hesitating when he saw them. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It's fine, Zuri said. We were just getting some fresh air. He approached cautiously. Congratulations on the crown. That was unexpected. For everyone, especially me. You deserve it, though. He glanced at Emma. Would you mind if I spoke to Zuri alone for a minute? Emma raised an eyebrow at Zuri, who nodded slightly. I'll be inside, Emma said. Don't stay out too long. You have fans waiting. When she had gone, Tyler took a deep breath. I need to ask you something, and I hope you won't be offended. Zuri's heart rate quickened. What is it? This might sound crazy, but are you Carson? The question hung in the air between them. Zuri's first instinct was to deny it, to maintain the illusion she'd worked so hard to create. But something in Tyler's expression, earnest, open, without judgment, made her consider the truth. Why would you ask that? She countered. Little things. The way you talk sometimes. How you reacted when I mentioned Carson earlier. The fact that I've never heard Emma mention a cousin before. And just now, watching you with Brock, there was history there. I could feel it. Zuri turned away, gazing out at the football field visible in the distance. Would it change things if I was? Tyler moved to stand beside her. Only in that I'd have even more respect for you. It takes incredible courage to do what you're doing. The sincerity in his voice cracked something open inside her. Yes, she whispered. I'm Carson. Or I was. I don't really know anymore. Tyler nodded slowly. Thank you for trusting me with that. Are you going to tell anyone? Of course not. That's your story to tell, if and when you choose to. Relief washed over her. I didn't plan for any of this to happen tonight. The crown, the attention, it was supposed to be simpler. Life rarely sticks to the script, Tyler said, with a small smile. For what it's worth, I think you're amazing. Carson or Zuri or whoever you choose to be. The acceptance in his words brought tears to her eyes. She blinked them away, careful not to smudge her makeup. Thank you. So what happens now? After tonight? It was a question Zuri had been avoiding. What did come next? Carson had classes to finish, graduation to attend. But after stepping into the light as Zuri, the thought of retreating back into the shadows felt impossible. I don't know, she admitted. I've been so focused on making it through prom that I haven't thought much beyond it. Tyler seemed to understand. Whatever you decide, I meant what I said about coffee sometime. No pressure, no expectations. Just two people getting to know each other. The door opened again, and Emma poked her head out. Sorry to interrupt, but they're doing the final dance of the night. Everyone's looking for the queen. Zuri nodded, then turned back to Tyler. I'd like that. Coffee, I mean. His smile was genuine. Great. I'll find you after the dance. Together, they returned to the gymnasium for the last song. As Zuri moved through the crowd, accepting congratulations and compliments, she felt a strange peace settling over her. The night had not gone as planned, but perhaps it had gone exactly as it needed to. The weeks following prom passed in a blur of decisions and transformations. Carson attended the final classes of senior year, enduring curious looks from classmates who had begun to notice certain changes. The growing out of his hair, the subtle shifts in his posture and speech patterns. But the old torment had ceased. Brock and his friends kept their distance, their former cruelty replaced by an uneasy wariness, as if they sensed something they couldn't quite articulate. Graduation came and went, a milestone marked in masculine attire for the last time. The diploma read, Carson Miller, a name that felt increasingly distant with each passing day. Summer arrived, bringing with it the freedom to fully embrace the person who had been revealed on prom night. Carson's parents, initially shocked by their son's announcement, gradually came to understand what had been apparent for years, that their child had been living a half-life, constrained by expectations that never fit. The brown hair that had been styled into waves for prom now grew naturally past the shoulders. The emerald gown was joined by other outfits, sundresses, blouses, skirts, each one feeling more natural than the last. The red stilettos were reserved for special occasions, replaced for daily wear by more practical but no less feminine footwear. Coffee with Tyler had led to dinner, which led to movies and walks and conversations that stretched late into summer nights. He treated Zuri with a respect and understanding that Carson had never experienced from peers. On the evening before Tyler was set to leave for college, a state university just 2 hours away, they sat together on a park bench, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues reminiscent of prom decorations. I got my new driver's license today, Zuri said, pulling the ID from her purse. The photograph showed a young woman with brown hair and a confident smile. The name read Zuri Miller. Tyler examined it with a grin. Official now, huh? As official as government documentation gets, she agreed. It's strange seeing it in print, but it also feels right. It suits you. He handed the license back. Nervous about starting classes next month? Zuri had deferred her college acceptance for a year, choosing to focus on her transition and work part-time to save money. A little. Starting anywhere new comes with challenges, but at least I'll be going as myself from day one. That's the advantage of a fresh start. No one has preconceived notions of who you should be. She leaned against his shoulder. Thank you for being part of this journey. Not many guys would have reacted the way you did. Their loss, Tyler said simply. I'm just grateful I got to know the real you. As the final colors of sunset faded into twilight, Zuri reflected on the path that had led her here. From the scared boy who had first slipped on a dress in the privacy of his bedroom, to the confident young woman now embarking on a future entirely her own. The transformation had been both gradual and sudden, painful and liberating. The emerald gown hung in her closet, a reminder of the night when everything changed. The tiara sat on her dresser, no longer a crown of illusion, but a symbol of victory, not over her classmates or even her tormentors, but over the fear that had kept her hidden for so long. Zuri Miller stepped forward into her future, each click of her heels affirming what she had discovered on that fateful prom night, that the greatest power comes not from being what others expect, but from having the courage to reveal your truest self. And in that revelation, she had found not just acceptance, but triumph.
Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!